Porsche Boxster prices held up extremely well during 2023, making them a top pick for those seeking a sports car with minimal depreciation. However, differences exist between various generations and models that demand attention. Some models were so popular that they retained their value entirely. To identify these models, we'll delve into the various price trends and compare them to the overall market. Subsequently, I'll explain why the present moment might be an excellent time to start shopping for a Boxster. So let's dive in, beginning with the 718 generation. We'll first focus on the 4 cylinders. Coverage of the 6 cylinders will follow after that. Subscribers may recognize this price pattern. An increase until mid-2022, a decrease until 2023, and a subsequent slower decline. Base models lost only 5.2% or $3,200 last year. S models 6.8% or $4,900, and GTS's 6% or also $4,900. The Boxster T market is small, causing more fluctuations and larger uncertainty. Relying on the average of the other models for the Boxster T, which is around 6%, seems the most sensible over here. Now, considering the bigger picture, prices are close to or already below September 2020 levels. Inflation-adjusted trends reveal that real prices are lower than those in September 2020. Now let's explore those enticing 6 cylinders. The 4-liter GTS, Spiders and 25 years edition prices depict a decrease between mid-2022 and early 2023. However, during 2023, 4-liter GTS depreciation rates aligned with the market trend, while 25 years editions and especially the Spiders experienced a slight price increase. Viewer input on this price increase emphasized Spiders' discontinuation and uniqueness coupled with a general MSRP increase for Porsches. Looking at the year-over-year rates, these developments translate to plus 0.8% for the Spiders, approximately $1,100, minus 5.1% or $6,700 for the 25 years edition, and minus 3.9% or $4,700 for the 4-liter GTSs. Adjusted for inflation, these numbers decreased by 2 to 3 percentage points. Moving on to the beloved 981 generation, encompassing Spiders, GTSs, S's and base models, depreciation rates remained relatively low in 2023. Base and S models correlated most with the market trend, an increase until 2022, a rapid decrease until mid-2023, and a slower depreciation afterwards. Base prices are 4.9% or $2,100 lower than last year, while S models show a 6.7% or $3,500 decrease. GTSs and Spiders, with lower correlations to the market and more significant price uncertainty due to lower supply, display depreciation rates of 6.1% and 1.6% respectively. When we interpret these numbers, it's key to keep this context of a higher price uncertainty in the back of our minds. It's then also important to take the confidence intervals into account, and when we look at these, we can see that they're slightly downward sloping for the GTS and stable for the Spiders. We can see therefore an increased premium of the Spiders over the GTSs compared to the end of 2023. Now, much of this interpretation logic that we just used for the Spiders and the GTSs, we also need to use for some of the 986s and 987s. Some of the subsegments are very small, causing more fluctuations in the price trends. Now proceeding to the 987.2 market, we can see that the trends again have a low correlation to the general market trend. Instead of the typical boom and bust, these trends slightly trend downward. Year-over-year price changes show a 4.3% decrease for the S's, 9.4% for the Spiders, and 11% for the base models. Now, while these percentages seem high, they are highly uncertain due to the segment's small size. Therefore, it's key that we focus on the trend and the confidence intervals rather than these exact rates. Moving on to the 987.1 market, we can see that prices remained fairly stable. Base models decreased by 2.7% or $600, and S models by 3.9% or $1,000. RS60 Spider data is excluded due to the low market supply. It's time to have a look at the last generation, the 986s. Unsurprisingly, these trends are very similar to what we saw before. Prices have been relatively stable, especially compared to other markets. We can see a dip after the summer of 2022, followed by stability. Base models are up by 3.5% compared to last year, and S's are down by 5.1%. Now, as you can see from the data point, in November 2022, it falls right at the top of the confidence interval, and this pushes the year-over-year decrease down. I think it's therefore fair to state that the 5.1% decrease is an overestimation. If we correct for this, we arrive at a change of 0 to 2%. Now, we covered a lot of numbers, so I think it's about time that we summarize what we just saw. Let's pull everything together into one graph. Over here we have the year-over-year changes, and this shows that the 987.2 really sticks out. But as we discussed, this is a small market segment with a high uncertainty in the exact rates. Nevertheless, even if we include them in the calculation of the average, we can see that Boxsters, on average, only lost 3.6% during last year. The 718 4-cylinders lost on average 6%, but it makes sense that they lost a lot more than the rest. They are the newest cars after all. On the other hand, we find the 986 and the 718 6-cylinders. The 986s are of course completely bottomed out, so it's no surprise to find them at the top of the list. The result of the 718 6-cylinders is mainly pushed up by the Spiders. Excluding them, they would have lost the same as the 981s. Now, as I say in many of these market updates, it's important to place these numbers in context. Subscribers are probably aware of the market trend, but if this is your first time watching, here is what happened during the last few years. Car prices surged during the pandemic, topped mid-2022 and then decreased with above average rates. Only a handful of markets remained stable after they topped. In the beginning of the summer of 2023 though, we saw that the depreciation rates in some markets started to decrease to more normal values. The Porsche Boxster market seems to fall somewhere in between these two lines. It namely did better than the general market. Let's have a look at those numbers. Over here we have the US year-over-year price changes for almost all cars that feature on my channel. On the horizontal axis we have the price change compared to last year in percentages, and on the vertical axis we have the number of cars to which this change applies. Now, the average decrease during last year was 8%, and most cars lost between 13% and 4%. So this means that Boxsters did significantly better than the market. Remember that they lost only 3.6% on average. Moreover, also the individual models with exception of the 987.2s lost significantly less than the market average. Without these 987.2s, the Boxster market falls with an average of minus 2.6% in the top 25% of the market segments that lost the least. A great result indeed, and it makes the Boxster an attractive proposition. Now, these current price trends are only to some extent predictive of future trends, but at the moment there are only very few developments visible in the data that would indicate an increase in the current depreciation rates in the near-term future. Looking at the percentage of unsold cars, we can see that this ratio has been falling rapidly during 2023. In other words, more and more cars sold within 3 months, indicating an increase in the scarcity level of the market. Only 10% of the 981 Boxsters was still for sale after 3 months. And these trends of course fit with the decrease in the depreciation rate that we saw earlier. There's one thing though that remained the same, and you could use this to your advantage. It's the discount rate for unsold cars. And this shows that 718s, 987s and 986s are discounted between 6 and 8%. And this is approximately the same as last winter. Discount rates for the 981s though decreased slightly from 8 to 3%. Nevertheless, this graph shows that right now is basically the perfect time to buy a Boxster that is sitting for more than 3 months at a seller. You could offset 1 year of depreciation, yet it won't be easy to find these cars, as we saw that only 10 to 20% are still for sale after 3 months. Let's wrap up and conclude. Porsche Boxsters defied the market trend in 2023 and lost significantly less. Even one of the worst performing categories, the 718 4-cylinders, still outperformed the market with a depreciation rate of minus 6%, while some 718 6-cylinders and 986s didn't lose anything at all. Now, all of this of course doesn't guarantee that Boxsters will continue to depreciate at this rate in the future, but there are currently no signs in the data that point towards an increase in depreciation. All in all, this makes the Boxster an excellent candidate for a buyer who cares about values. There's a choice for every budget, and right now could be the best moment to buy, as you can leverage the winter discounts. But what if you rather want a 911? If that's you, then I recommend that you check out the full data-driven market update for the 911 Carreras by clicking right over here. If you're interested in an analysis for a different car, I recommend that you head over to my channel. Over there you'll find data-driven market updates for a large variety of cars. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week for a new video.